Die, Jean, die. Well, you've had tests and they've come back, and that's what's going to happen to you if you don't do something about it. Hi, I'm Adaire Palmer, and welcome to today's MyTimeTV.live Book Lovers Club on Amazon. We are on streaming out to over 50 channels of TV on demand through the Binge Network syndication program. We're live on MyTimeTV.live on Facebook and also the Women in Business Amplified page. And as a very special treat, if you're in the Women in Business Amplified community, there's 2,000 lovely women in business in there just waiting to hear the message of my very, very special guest today. But first, I would like to ask you, if you are here watching live, let me know where you're from. And also, we'd love to hear that you have encouraged as many other people as possible to join in this broadcast, because there is some pretty amazing stuff coming up. And I'm going to introduce this. I'm very, very excited to introduce Nurse Jean Sheehan. She became a human guinea pig for 2 years, feeding herself a diet of junk and processed food. She became addicted to sugar. We all know that one. She became obese, riddled with toxic diseases, and was told that she would have to be on medication for the rest of her life. She would not be able to work, travel, or see her children grow up. Basically, her dreams and her life as she knew it was over. To which Jean said, "Bite me. This is unacceptable." And welcome, Jean.
Hello. Thank you so much, Adaire. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really
good. Yes, pleased to hear it. I do have, like I said, we are live on several platforms. And what I'd like for people to do, if you are live with us, let us know where you're from. But also, I would love for you to pop over to the Amazon channel. It is mytimetv.live over on Amazon. Hit the follow button, and also you will find in the carousel the book, Bite Me. What's the rest of the title, Jean?
So it's Bite Me, Banish Disease, the Quantum Reality of Food.
Okay, so 2 years of sugar and processed foods. Tell me, how did that come about, and did you consciously choose to become a human guinea pig?
So it's pretty crazy. And when people find out my story, they read the book, and then at places they meet me and they say, did you really become a guinea pig? What led it to that point? So I had written 3 Amazon bestsellers, and the last 2 were on millennium children and about empowering them and personalities. And it was great. And I was traveling the world teaching about medical intuition and health and all sorts of things. And I kept seeing children in prams and supermarket trolleys, and in their milk bottles was Coca-Cola, Mother, Bull, all these caffeinated drinks. And it made me really angry, especially after just writing the other books. I just went, oh my gosh, what are we doing to our future community and society? Having been a nurse and seeing that side, and having had a medical intuitive practice for over 20 years, I know what health is like and what it's not. And I thought, right, how am I going to prove that food can kill us or empower us? Mm-hmm. And I thought, yeah, look, there's lots of literature about it. Shut up, Jane. Just do it. So prior to all of this, I had an extremely unhealthy diet. I was extremely unwell and decided to clean up my act. So I know what it was like to go from crappy food to really healthy. And at this point, I was really healthy, really good. Stopped smoking, stopped coffee, stopped all sorts of stuff. And I thought, okay, you're taking a big risk going back to processed food, because wheat gives you migraines, dairy makes you vomit, sugar is so addictive, and you took quite a while to clean up your act, and you're going to go back and do it? And I went, yes, I am. Because I had a mission to teach people, oh my gosh, just be aware of food in your mouth and what it does. So I did it very secretly. My children were, one was an adult, one was a teenager, and my husband said, why are you eating that? You don't eat that. And the night before I was about to take myself on retreat to write my book, Bite Me, they were having Coca-Cola. And we don't normally have Coke in the house, and I don't have Coke. And I said, I'll have a sip. And so I took one little sip. I had anxiety in the chest. I had suicidal thoughts. I was shaking. And that was from one sip of sugar, one. So that was confirmation. And so, yes, for a couple of years, I ate really processed, horrible, horrible food. Mm-hmm. I put on 21 kilos. I had all sorts of diseases, from hormonal problems to early menopause to adrenal fatigue to chronic fatigue, you name it, I had it. Leaky gut. I was sick. I was really sick. All my clients were saying, what are you up to, Jean? What are you doing? Nothing, because I needed to prove what happened and then clean up my act. It took quite a while to get my body back. The doctors and the medical system said you're going to be on medication for the rest of your life. And it was virtually, Jean, die. That's really what I was told. And I wasn't prepared to have early death, and I knew I could get it back to the way I was and heal it using medical intuition and quantum reality. And it was just the last little bit of getting off the sugar. Oh, my God, that's so addictive. So here am I today, back to healthy, back to everything. But, yeah, it was a horrible guinea pig, but I did it with a passion and a purpose, because I just thought, no, I'm going to prove what I know to be true.
So when you started on that journey, and, like the thought of, because I was one of those typical uneducated people who put honey on my child's dummy, and I just I shudder now when I think about it. I mean, honey's better than whatever else, but it's still, they don't need it. So coming from there, and like knowing what you know, and then knowing you're going to embark on this journey to prove it to yourself, did you have a time frame in mind, or did you just go, I'm just going to follow this process and see where it takes me? And at what point did you know that you had to stop?
I gave myself 12 months to eat the bad food, etc. And then health-wise, I gave myself 12 months to get better. So that's why it was the 2 years.
Okay.
But it did take longer than 12 months to get better, because I had done so much damage in such a short time with the food. And so just the last little dregs of helping. But it was a limited time. And even going back, as I said, going back to the wheat, when I knew it was going to give me migraines, like 3 days a week vomiting and migraine, that was taking a big risk. So I was very hesitant at the beginning, and I went, think of the purpose. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I've got a mission and something to prove. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it. Yeah, 12 months with migraines and vomiting. That was enough. That was totally enough.
That sounds like a long time.
Very long time.
And also a very short amount of time to put 20 kilos on.
Yes.
It would have been an incredible strain on your body.
Yes. Yeah. And we don't realize, like, I was unconscious to all of this too, hence why I got really sick many, many years ago while I was nursing, and needed to clean up my act. And so I don't ever judge anyone. The whole point of this is to say, hey, guess what? Check this out. It's not to judge or criticize. It's just, well, I get a little bit antsy when ads say chemical free or natural, whatever. I think, no, it's not natural. It's not natural to have sprinkles and pink icing and things. That's not natural. So it's just an education.
Yeah. I like how they get those things, like, say, the sprinkles, and they'll go gluten-free. Okay. Oh, it's gluten-free. It must be good for me.
Yes. Yes.
It's in the wording, they put it on plastic too. This plastic is gluten-free. I mean, I know we're laughing, but it really is no laughing matter, because, and without getting into it too deeply, and I know, like, the state of the world, the current environment is dependent on people being unhealthy, being overweight, have their heads full of not just their heads full of what they put into their bodies. Like, it's not, there's some people, people who you do, and I know when I eat sugar, I don't drink, and I don't, same with you. I used to drink and smoke and have all those bad habits, and I cleaned up my act, and if I have sugar now, like, I can get drunk on a pavlova. Makes me talk improperly. But when with the world like it is, and it's on that path, and there's no other way to see that there are other options. And I totally forgot what I was talking about, because I was so I was back eating that pavlova. Oh dear. I mean, the escapism for sure. But we like fish. I think we don't need you weren't like the fish, because you actually consciously jumped into the water, but we are, when we're brought up with that, and we don't know any different. And a dear friend of mine had joined a program with a friend called Eric Edmeades. It's called Wild Fit, and he didn't know that eating Mars, he actually genuinely believed that having a Mars bar in the afternoon was an energy pick-me-up, because that's what he was taught to believe. And he didn't know any better until such time as, he joined this program, and they said, about the dangers of sugar. So maybe if we could focus on that for a little while, and then, and just, I'd love to know your thoughts on the wheat. We can chat about in a minute as well, but the sugar, I think, is probably one of the biggest threats to society's health, and so I'd love to know your thoughts on that.
Yep. So when I do talk about it, I talk about it from a physical and metaphysical aspect. So like emotional, physical, chemical, mental. And it's the way we process food generally. If I was in my backyard and I was growing the wheat and milling it and doing whatever you do to grow wheat, it's healthy, but the way we create it, it becomes a sugar. The same as dairy. And years ago, my children were little, and I had just moved to the Sunshine Coast, Queensland, and one of my clients was a dairy farmer, and she said, bring the boys out, let them come and see the cows being milked, etc. And I went, oh my gosh, amazing. So we did, and I had this vision of, we're all going to be on horses and galloping and rounding up the cows. Yep, that's not the case. The boys jumped on the back of the quad bike. I stayed at the milking station, and the farmer yelled out, Daisy, or whatever the cow's name was, and all the cows just came bouncing along, and they were standing at the gate, and the gate, I've never been close to a cow, they're massive, and I was looking into the cow's eyes, and they were like giggling out, like as though really angry, like let me in, and pushing against the gate. And I innocently said to the farmer, oh my gosh, they must be quite full in their udder, and thinking it's like breastfeeding, you're full and you've got to empty out. And he said, oh no, they want the cake. What cake? What cake? What good? Oh, they get cake when we milk them. Their trough has some grain food, which has got hormones in it, and it's got cake, the old jam tip-top roulette thing, and they love the cake. So they're addicted to sugar. So when the cow eats the sugar, it's processed, and the sugar's in the milk. So when you have milk, it's got sugar in it. And then we've got processed food, like it's processed, and to preserve it or process it, sugar keeps it in a form. If you look at some of the brand cakes in the supermarket, I won't name them, we'll call them branded cakes, they can be on the shelf for like 6 months. They're not fresh compared to if we make it and whatever. So that sugar, if you think whether it's the wheat, dairy, or basic sugar, it's preserving something. It's holding it stagnant, which is happening to our cells, our guts, and it makes it inflamed. And welcome to cancer, leaky gut syndrome, diabetes, any of the immune system, which diabetes is, Graves' disease, multiple sclerosis. It's making our bodies inflamed. And like we're actually the sickest that we've ever been as a society, living longer, but really sick. with way more medications. And so this sugar is like big no. And, we're brought up on it, like you were saying about, the dummy and the honey. My husband would talk about, I'm Greek Arabic, so I ate Middle Eastern food, but he talks about his grandmother made these cupcakes called fairy cakes, and it was sugar and sprinkle, and it was just, every meal you have a dessert afterwards. So we're taught to have that sugar.
Yeah, we grew up on the cupcakes, sort of the old traditional German or English fare where we had we called them sky blue sinkers, and it was white bread soaked in milk with sugar.
Yeah. And then if we go to the wartime, like basic food, you had bread, milk, and sugar, and I think they made pudding or something from it. But the cruel part is with the sugar, is that the way our anatomy is at the tip of the tongue, that's the sugar spot. So I'll just use my water bottle. But if this was an ice cream, when we go to lick the ice cream, it hits the sugar point right on the end, and we go, oh, well, wow, that's nice. That's right. It sets off all these hormones and chemicals of gimme. We have it, and then we want more. It's just so addictive, and it changes personalities. Yeah. And sugar, it's in alcohol. It's in drugs. It's in like medication drugs. It's in recreational drugs. I used to smoke, and it's in cigarettes. 18% of the cigarettes is sugar.
Interesting, because I studied hypnotherapy, and when I found out that they soak the tobacco leaves in sugar, and it's actually more the sugar in the cigarettes that are addictive so much more than the nicotine, I went, oh my God, we have been fed a whole heap of BS.
Yes.
And we believed it. I genuinely believed that smoking was more addictive than heroin, because I kept telling myself that story for years. And then when I learned this new information, I was able to stop easily.
Yes.
So, that's crazy. Yeah.
So sugar, although it tastes great initially, it is addictive. It's a high. And while I was doing this, like the unhealthy program to write the book, it would get to 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and I would say to my husband, almost like a drug addict, go get me sugar. What? Go and get me licorice all sorts, which is like licorice, which is made from wheat, and then the candy colours throughout. And I would get to a stage almost like shaking of, go and get it now. I need it now. But the shops are about to close. I know, hurry. And then I would go to bed on the sugar. And I was very aware of what I was doing because I knew the process. But then there was another part of me that I couldn't control. So it was like this addiction. And that was the last little bit of cleaning up my act that I just had to go, stop. And I don't mean sugars from fruit or that sort of thing. It's the processed sugars. Really. And everything is, they say when you're food shopping in a supermarket, shop on the outside.
Yes.
Fruit and veggies and meat, all the inside, don't go there.
Well, even better, don't go to the supermarket at all. Go to your greengrocers. We did a special last night on I'm a member of a food co-op. It's called the Coochie Foodies, because I live on Coochie Madlo Island, and we had one of the founders on to talk to us about being part of a food co-op, and they're going, well, we can't compete with supermarkets because we've only got a range of 800 items. But seriously, you wouldn't need to go to supermarkets if you chose to eat fresh and organic. The other thing that I was thinking when you were talking about, taking your kids to the dairy or the dairy farm, was that I grew up in rural South Australia, and my kids grew up in rural South Australia. And one of the towns that we lived in for quite a number of years had a dairy farm right smack bang in the middle of it. And we were living on a farm at the time. And we would go in with a 4-litre bucket, and we'd get the milk pretty much fresh from the cow. It was all one of those honor systems, they had the chilled urns, and you can walk in, you ladle it out, and you leave your $2 on the counter. And I don't think I ever met anyone there, but there was always fresh milk there, and you could always just go fill up your bucket. which was really, but we just took that as natural. And then I'd do get home and skim off the top, and then we'd have fresh cream in the fridge, and we'd also then have milk. Now those cows were grass fed,
Yeah.
but they weren't back then. This would be, we're looking at nearly 40 years ago. My oldest daughter's 41, so she would have been 4 or 5 so 35 years ago. And that was the norm. That was how, that was how we got milk. And I suppose living in a rural area, that sort of, it might be a bit different to living in an urban area. But it is, when I think about it now, I couldn't even tell you when that dairy farmer closed down, or because I'm sure the council wouldn't let a paddock full of cows live in the main, like in the middle of a town, because it was built around the farm.
Yeah.
So, but it's just interesting that that some of those and those practices are now coming back.
Yes. I was talking about it today on another interview that I was in, about how this particular goat's feta cheese, the owners of this feta cheese, they are just goat people. They know every goat's name. They just live, eat, breathe goats. They love the goats when they milk them. They thank the goats when they milk them, and then they make the feta cheese, and it's in a beautiful glass jar with olive oil around it and some herb. Like, there's a lot of love, and part of it is part of the Bite Me book. I talk about learning to appreciate and be grateful for food. And when you open your cupboard, like there's things that people need to do in the Bite Me book of, go have a look at all the dates of your spices. Have a look at the condiments. Like, see how much wheat sugar dairy is in it. See how it's out of date. Ask yourself, why do you use it? Ask yourself, when do you use it? We become so ungrateful for food. And that's the same with processed. It's like, quick, I'm in a hurry. I'll go and grab whatever and stick it in. It feels good for the moment. I'm on a high. That got me through the day. There's no appreciation and gratitude for the food, and food's healing. I remember at one stage, whilst I was nursing, I wanted to go and study Ayurvedic medicine, which is Indian medicine with food. So they use the herbs and just love it. Anything to do with food, I love. And I just think if we just really understood how healing food is, but there's also the processed one, it will kill you. That's just how it is. It will kill you.
So as a nurse, and you're not practicing now, obviously, you would have seen. Now, my mum was a nurse she's retired now, but she was a nurse for many, many years, like over 50 years, and she had, interestingly enough, when she had something there where she wanted to get treatment, she would go see a naturopath. It is interesting that you would see, having been in the health system and seeing, well, it's not the health system, it's the sick system, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
What it is. And now moving on to you as your medical intuitive and the healing with food, that type of thing that you're looking at. Can you see that how wide is that gap between the two?
So there's moments in time. So I teach medical intuition to doctors. I've spoken on cruise ships, etc., in university. So even the medical system was trying to upgrade and take on board. So it was a holistic approach. Not everyone, but a certain group of medical system. And so I saw the gap, closing, and almost coming back to, like you talked about, going to the farmer and leaving the money on the side and skipping the milk. It was almost coming back to that. And that was the same as, 20 years ago, the organic thing came in. We're sort of coming back. It seems to do this wave of, we seem to get it. Oh, no, back again. We seem to get it. Oh, no, back again. And so, however, in the last probably, let's say, maybe 4 years, we've gone backwards again. And I would say it's part of our lifestyle. We live off I live off the mobile phone. Like, all my apps are so I can contact all the team no matter where I am. My life is the laptop. And so, but I also train myself that I've learned how to, if I need to get my food from the supermarket, you can grab a banana and some nuts, like whole food. You could go to a coffee shop, a sandwich shop, that I buy boiled eggs, or so you teach yourself. So the gap seems to have got bigger again because of this fast-paced life again. So I would dare say that there's another tweak about to happen just in human race. Plus, there's a lot of people just really disgruntled with the medical system. And I don't bag it out. I did it for 15 years, nursing, autopsies, pathology, etc., for a certain amount of time. But I just went, there's more to a Panadol and chopping off a leg. There is way more.
Yeah.
So I think the more that people become aware to, different things, right down to this, they can then say, hello, Dr. Blogs, I really want to find out about. And if he doesn't support, go to somebody else. You can shop for your doctors and things.
Yeah.
So I think it comes back to the community. And as you said, a lot of nurses don't go to the doctors. They go to naturopaths. I don't go to doctors. I go to naturopaths and homeopaths, etc. as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you, I had a thought about the book in the book. So when you go, if we go, I'll go back to that.
Yes.
When you wrote the book and you wrote about your journey in the 12 months that you had, where you became very unhealthy, and then the subsequent 12 months where you reversed that. Along the way, what sort of hints you've given us a little bit now, but and can you explain a little bit more about what is in the book? So if I'm going to buy your book, and by the way, it is on Amazon. I'm looking here because I have Amazon Live open on my iPad, and it is in the carousel. So if you're watching over there, you're welcome to just tap on that book that says "Bite Me," and purchase your own copy. And if you're over on Facebook, there are links in the comments where you can just tap and go straight over and collect your copy of the book as well. So, Jean, practical, so I'm sitting here, I'm going, oh my God, I can't get over this sugar addiction, and I can hear what you're saying, and it is making sense, and I know it's not good for me. In the book, there's stuff that we can do.
Yep. So I take with the book, I take you through a journey, and I must admit, in the journey, I talk about I am really embarrassed. I needed to be upfront with everyone and say I'm really embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I'm fat. I'm embarrassed that because I'd created that so that people can understand. I know what it's like, and I'm able to do this. So can you? So I explain that it's okay. We're starting the journey. I talk about the diseases that I created. So leaky gut, hormones, etc. All the things, so that people can go, oh, that's me, or that's me. Then we go into, and there's a little bit medical intuition. Then we go into what to do. What did you do, Jean? So I talk about, clean out the pantry. And I mean, clean out the pantry. And I have a Bite Me program, and I get people do this, and they panic. I say, throw everything out. Oh, can we get gifted on? Throw it out. If it's got sugar, wheat. So I explain what sugar does, what wheat does, what dairy does, and what the processed food does. I talk about, as I said, clean out the pantry, clean out the fridge. I talk about the ambience of food, like what is your feelings when you're chopping up the carrots to make vegetable soup or roast veggies or whatever it is. Where are you focusing? Because it comes back to being appreciative of what's that food doing. I'm conscious. So we talk about the diseases, what they are physically, metaphysically, how to empty out the fridge, how to create a new lifestyle, how to teach the whole family, how to write a shopping list. And I don't mean just a shopping list. What's the mindset? What's the emotion? Because with food, it's also, we eat emotionally. Or we don't eat emotionally. Why? What's going on? And then with all of the diseases, it's like, well, if the doctor says to me, Jean, you're B6 deficient, or you're B12, or you need iron, where are the foods? So right at the back, there's a huge like repertoire where they've got, I've written everything for them, that they've got all the what foods to have, what do they do for you, or if your child's allergic, because there's so many kids allergic to
Yes.
certain foods. There is, I'll be honest, no recipes, none. I'm not a recipe maker because I cook with what I've got.
Yeah.
There's so many recipe books out there that thing, but it takes you on a journey of unravel the pain, whatever the pain is, weight, leaky gut, whatever it is, do these things, and then right at the end, before the repertoire, is the secret tip. The secret tip of the quantum. Now, I'm not going to share because that's part of the secret. And when people read it, they say, "Are you serious? That's all I have to do?" Yeah, try it. And I've had so many people say, "Oh my God, it worked. It worked."
Well, that's really, really cool. I have my copy. I have a soft copy.
A soft copy.
Well, I live on a boat, and if I bought the books of every author,
yeah,
I wouldn't have any room to store my fresh food. So, so I didn't even bring my CDs with me. So, so trying to pay back. Otherwise, I do love hard copy books. I have to admit. So, but thank you for that. And the quantum is the key.
So the last little key, it's almost like, I'm going to say, the icing on the cake. Okay, it's like all these things, because anything is a journey, and we want to get to the foundations of I've got this disease, or I'm overweight, or whatever the thing. That's the foundation. That's the pain point. And then we want to unravel one bit at a time so that it becomes a new lifestyle, especially if you're addicted to sugar or emotional eating, or people have tried every weight loss program or every program for their health. It's like if we set these foundations, like foundation of the house, and then put the brick by brick by brick, and put the door in, and put the windows and the roof, we're putting the roof on. The quantum part is understanding, okay, the molecular structure of law of attraction, of how cells talk to each other. So we're going very grounded into what I might call the woo-woo, and it's the woo-woo that's missing in Western medicine. It's very do this, do this, do this. But if we had integrative health of physical, chemical, emotional, mental, spiritual connection, this big, beautiful picture. And that's why I say it's like, that just last bit, so that you do all the foundations and go, yep, that feels good, that feels good, that feels good. Okay, I'm ready. It becomes really easy.
Yeah.
Really easy.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in your medical intuition. Are you able to share a little bit about that?
Of course. So what is medical intuition and what's the name? So medical, I've got a nursing background, and I did that for a particular reason, which I'll explain in a moment. And then I went into pathology. Pathology is what I call stabbing people. I was the one that used to take your blood or work in the laboratory in the different departments. And then I worked in autopsies, not for very long, because I like to talk, and the scientists...
Not much happening there.
No. The mortician...
that bad. Am I going to go to hell?
No. It's part of my sense of humor. The morticians don't talk, and of course the patient doesn't talk. So, but there was a reason, and I'll take you back why. I went into nursing because at the age of 16, my mum was dying of liver and bowel cancer. She drank coffee, she smoked, and her diet was full of sugar. And I could actually see inside the body. I've always been able to see inside the body. I'm not psychic, I'm not a medium. I don't know how I see, I just do. I'm very grounded, but woo. And so I can see the anatomy, physiology, what the disease is, what the body needs to heal. And I was nursing her at home. She was 43. She then had a stroke where she was completely dense on one side. I couldn't cope, and so I popped her into hospital because I couldn't do it anymore. Within a week, 2 weeks, she passed away on Christmas Day. And at 16, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. But in those week that she was in the hospital, I was watching the nurses attend to her all the time. I was also getting upset of why can't they see what I can see. Why can't the medical system, do the things like? But I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So I then became homeless, finished my year 12 and went into nursing. And back then, nursing was training in a hospital.
Yeah.
And so I went into nursing. I wanted to give back to the nurses that gave to my mum, but I also felt like that was a destiny that I needed to go to understand this being able to say and see inside the body. And as I was nursing, I would write case studies about the patients, not for anyone else to see, but I'd just write, look at the emotional link, and I see it here. When people talk about diabetes, there's this, and when they've got that, and I would listen to how they talk and what was going on. And it helped me to understand this ferocious science mind I've got, but this really intuitive mind, and marry them together. So hence medical, intuitive.
Okay.
Then at age 26, I became suicidal. I had this gift of being able to see inside the body, and I couldn't tell anyone. Who do I tell? My husband didn't even know. I just couldn't tell. And I thought, I can't live with this. And so I was ready with a glass of water and pills in my hand to kill myself because I couldn't handle what I do with all of this knowledge. And I thought about my 3-year-old son, and I thought, I can't leave him like my mum left me. So I went, right, that's it. I need to just say it. So I caught up with some nursing girlfriends. At this stage, I was having coffee, sugar, wheat, dairy, and smoking. So we met up at a coffee shop where you could smoke. And I just said to them, okay, so, and I said it straight out what I could see in my girlfriend's body. And I thought she's either going to do 2 things or 3 things. 1, she's going to lock me in a psych unit. 2, she's going to be amazed. 3, she's going to run away. Something's going to happen. So it was, how did you know that? I want to know more. Word got around. So I started doing one-on-one sessions, coined it medical intuition. Then, can you teach it? Yes, I can teach it. To then keynote speaking about it, writing books about it. So medical intuition is the medical part, and then intuitive part. But overall, the word medical means to make the person whole and complete. That's why I love the word medical. So it's not Western medicine, it's the word medical. Let's make the person whole and complete, which is mind, body, spirit, chemical, physical. And chemical is food. Chemical is smoking. Chemicals, all sorts of things.
Yeah. Very interesting. So you're running those classes still? You're still training in those medical intuition?
Absolutely.
It's interesting because, like you said, the westernized concept of medical is that whole give a pill. Oh, there's something wrong. You give a pill, and it might not even be the pill that's the right pill for the ill. It might be because it's on a bell curve, and and I'm personally, I have a personal interest in healing with food as well. So, and so that's I've got a bit of echo there. Hang on a moment. Have you got any tabs open?
No, darling, nothing open.
Okay, let's turn this down a bit. Just bear with me 1 moment.
Yeah.
Let's see if that works. I think that's better. Cool. Okay. So just a reminder, Jean Sheehan is with me, and she has written an amazing book called Bite Me, Banish Disease, and I can't see the rest of the words.
Oh, sure. It's Bite Me, Banish Disease with Quantum Reality of Food.
Beautiful. And your healing journey was with food.
Yeah, this one was very much because I had already, cleaned up my act years ago, but I needed to make myself that guinea pig and just do it with food.
And then go down that path again and come back. So you've proved that it can be done, and you have done it, not overcome a sugar addiction. Yeah. So we are live on Amazon on the Live Influencer program. We've got some people over there. So if you want to tap the follow button, please feel free, and also grab the copy of the book. And I'm sure it is a book that needs to be on every single bookshelf, not just in Australia, but around the world. And we're also live on, I forgot to mention, we're over on LinkedIn as well.
Oh, wow.
LinkedIn,
Wow.
and we're also on Women in Business Amplified on the page and inside of the community, as well as mytimetv.live and the syndication program through 50 channels of TV on demand. So, Jean, is there anything you'd like to share with us? Messages that we can take away?
In relation to like what we've been talking, I think it's more of being gentle with ourselves, of whatever the situation, whether it's weight or disease or confidence, or because I address that all in the book. Of number one, instead of us, whether it's male or female, just being so hard on ourselves, it's just acknowledging us to say, okay, this is what's occurred. I'm now aware, and I'm now aware that I want to leave that pain to, feeling great, whether it's mind, body, etc. And I say that because in the front of the book, I say, I'm so embarrassed that I've done this to myself, but I did it for a reason. Yeah. So that's the start of the healing journey. And then to allow ourselves just to go, okay, I'm going to set myself up for success. Yeah. And I'm going to do it one bit at a time. And I want to enjoy this process. And so this is where my culture comes in the Greek Arabic. Like, we do everything around food. You come to my house, I'm going to feed you. If there's a funeral, I'm going to feed you. You're lonely, I'm going to feed you. I'm just going to feed you all the time. That we want to make life a celebration. And that if you do any journey of healing your mind, your body, weight loss, health, or whatever, make it a celebration of yourself. Yeah. That's probably the biggest key that I teach all of my students when I'm keynote speaking is you must celebrate. You must. So celebrate every step of the way and just really be gentle. Acknowledge yourself. I think that's probably the biggest takeaway. And that was also from nursing. Yes. That I would see patients go through major surgery or major situations, conditions, or whatever, and they would just walk out and that was it. And I'd say, and I'd pull them aside and say, just remember, you need to celebrate. Yes. Even if it was a woman having a DNC or someone having open heart surgery or having a baby, or celebrate yourself, not just a baby, but celebrate. Your body thrives on celebration. It doesn't thrive on stresses. So that would be my encouragement for everyone. Celebrate all the time.
I love it. Today is a good day to celebrate.
Yes. Without sugar.
Because that's an interesting thing too, isn't it? Because people think celebration, have a wine or have a cake or whatever. So, but even celebrating might be a nice kombucha, or for me, it might be, I'm going to celebrate by going for a swim in the ocean, or I'm going to celebrate by going for a paddle on my kayak.
Yes. Definitely.
So what you would see, I think you can turn your everyday activities into celebrations by changing your mindset.
Yeah. And just so people know, why is the book called Bite Me? Like, it's not just a pun on words. When I made the decision to go on the really awful food and put on the weight and whatever, like I aimed for 20 kilos weight gain, but it was 21. I was so angry that I could have used a swear word starting with F. And I went, right, if kids are going to see this, or I see books at the airport, I can't have that on the front. It has to have like bite me. And it was like this thing, bite me. Just come on, take me. So I want people to bite into life, like eat it as though it's something delicious. And when you do that, then you celebrate.
So cool. I love it. I'm so glad you shared that with us, because that was one of the questions that I was going to ask but didn't. So So, Jean, I have taken the liberty of popping your beautiful image here. So then you are in stereo. And all things being equal, we should have your Facebook page popping into the news feed about now. And there we are. And so if people want to get in touch with you, oops, hang on. Right, we'll get rid of that one and that one. The quicker button. They can do so by popping over to your Facebook page and sending you a message, having a look at the things that are happening on your page. It seems it's quite busy over there. It's like going into a health food shop with all this activity. So, which is wonderful. Okay, so is there any last things that you'd like to share?
So, as I said, the tip is celebrate, and that's just for life. And the other thing I teach all my students, clients, is when you're celebrating because everything always works out. It's just a universal law, and that's what I would love to leave people with for the rest of their life. Of it always works out. Celebrate.
It always does. Yes, brilliant. Well, Jean, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the time that we spent together. I do look forward to meeting you in real life.
That'd be amazing.
Not that far away. We're in the same state, so there's really no excuse. So, and do encourage people to pop over to Amazon, have a look at the book, purchase the book, and do hit the follow button while you're over there. Thanks so much, Jean.
Thank you.
You have a wonderful rest of the week and amazing weekend.